I've read all the sales books which are out there in the market, and I can tell you honestly, don't do this. And I will tell you in this video why it is better to talk to people in the real life, in the real world, than reading books or learning this in universities or just talking and thinking in theoretical stuff. So it must be a very awkward situation for you because I'm a sales consultant, of course, but I tell you honestly, I learned more from the real world and being in a real situation than from any podcast or any book that is out there in the market. And at the end of the video, I will give you some life advice as well, because I know how hard it is to found a company and to live this startup life. So first of all, let me tell you about this scene I just observed in a bakery in Berlin. I was in Berlin in Germany, and when I entered into this bakery, I saw they have such good bread and so many good things there. But I noticed from the woman who was running that bakery, she was rejecting customer calls. So when a customer entered and he was just in front of mine and he said, I want this or I want this, she also she in that whole conversation with him, she said, no, no, don't take this, take this, and no, don't take this. And when I talked to her, I said, you just said no. And you said, oh, this bread is from this morning and don't buy this, just take this. And I noticed in this very small example, when I had the conversation with her, she told me, and I noticed how clever this is. She told me she only wants to sell really what she believes is the best product she has in her shop. So she's not overselling herself. And I recognize this from my work that a lot of startups, they do not learn to say the word no. They always tell the customer, yes, we're going to do this for you and this for you, and we're doing something for free. And they're just admitting to do everything for their customers. So my learning from this is when you make an offer or when you talk to your customers, learn to say no. When they want more and more from you, you have to learn to say the word no and then make an offer only with the best products you have and only with that stuff you have that you really want to sell. It is important to reject customers' demands as well. Not only we're always talking about their pain points and to fulfill their needs, it's important to reject something here. Another example is a friend of mine is a DJ, and I was always wondering how this works when he has this big gigs or he has only a small audience or is at a wedding or any celebration. And I told him, how do you set up this list with the songs? And he told me he has no list. He is watching and observing the dance floor. And he sees how many people are actually dancing and how many people are just sitting around and going to the bar. And he recognizes by watching and listening to the music who's interacting really, who's dancing. And it is worth playing the next song out of the same genre maybe, or playing different kind of music because he recognizes, he really watches what is happening and he's listening to the music which is playing at the moment. So it is important for you not to set up a standard for every customer. When you learn from that DJ, and I learned this, it is important that you made tailor-made offers and you made individual offers, that you really observe and listen to the arguments of your customers. Don't have this standard list for your work. Just be creative and be just so spontaneous that you can just set up something that it fits in this sales negotiations, and we have not this one size fits all. Then another very good example is a friend of mine who has a kid who's playing in a soccer team. And the soccer coach always leaves one player and one of the good players on the bench. And we observed this as well. And the team was struggling, and then they were playing better, and they were playing not so good. And then after the match, I asked him, and I said, "Why are you doing this?" Because I know this is there must be something behind this. And he says, "When I leave this one player, which is very good on the bench, the team learns from him, and he learns from the team. He is observing the team, and the team is observing. Of course, they notice he's not there. They're feeling this, and it's so important that they learn they are not so dependent on him. So when you found your startups, it's of course founder-led sales in the first moments. But later on, sales business is about trust. You have to hire somebody who's doing the sales work for you. That was the key moment when I learned again that trusting your team is so important. Hire somebody, teach him how to represent your company, and then go on this bench and observe. And the last example I want to give you today is about a guy who runs this coffee shop here where I grab my coffee in Toronto in the morning. And I always leave that shop with more than just the coffee. And it is like a situation, not like, okay, I order coffee and just grab my coffee and leave. This guy knows me because he asks questions. He knows my dog. He knows about my private life. We talk. We do not talk about the weather or how the Blue Jays playing, but we talk about my life and his life in a real conversation, not in this superficial conversation where you just go over those boring topics. So it is important, I think, and that's why I'm not only leaving with a coffee, but I like to buy from him. It's important that you talk about stuff. As well, try to talk about personal stuff and have a real conversation with your client, a real talk. Sales is not selling and some stuff out there or just being this strict sales guy with his superficial comments on this, what we hear in every sales negotiation again and again. Be personal. Congratulate for birthdays. Just listen to your customers, talk to them, and talk about emotional stuff as well. Sales is not so dry talk and not so boring talk as some people believe. Sales is very emotional. So you need to talk on you. You will have upsales as well in your sales negotiations if you're not just this strict boredom guy there who's doing just his regular stuff. Just listen to the people and talk to their individual needs and the individual personal stuff as well. So at the end of the video, I promised you I want to give you some overall life advice as well, because I know that a lot of startup founders, especially at the moment, are tired because the total situation in the economy is really hard. And on the other hand, AI kicks in a lot of moments. And I tell you, just to go through this whole sales and startup sales life, I learned from many occasions that these points are so important for me. So the first thing I do, and I promise you it will help you, is eat a real meal. And do not eat in front of your computer. Just go outside, grab some lunch anywhere, and sit outside without your phone or any technical device. Just sit there and eat your lunch. Talk to another person maybe, go out with a friend, but have this. It's like a meditation for the body. It's good for you and your body, and it's good for your work that you eat once a day a real meal. Then after that meal, the second thing I want to advise you today is go on a walk. I always do this as well in the morning, but I always do this after lunch. And it helped me so much just opening everything in my brain, just being more creative. And some people told me this is so boring when I go out here in the city and go for like 5 minutes alone. But I tell you, I promise you, this boredom is the foundation of your creativity. You will be more creative. I always have so many good ideas when I'm walking after lunch. During the walk, a lot of new ideas come up, and I always just make my notes after that walk. Then the third thing I would do is during your week, talk to somebody who's not in the startup business or has nothing to do with your business. That can be your mom or can be your dad or a friend who's a lawyer or a judge or a policeman or I don't know, who's a fitness coach, just to somebody who's nothing to do with your technical startup stuff. This will liberate your mind as well. This will open for new thoughts and will give you a lot of creative input, and you just disconnect from the regular work. So that's why this is so important, just to talk to people, not on these startup meetings, because everybody's only talking about their stuff. Talk to people who have nothing to do with your business. And on Sunday, for example, when the whole week is running, that's also very good advice. I cook at home for me a really good meal. I cook. Anyways, a chicken with something or rice with, I don't know, fish, salmon with something, just something. It does not have to be perfect. It's just good that I also learned how to disconnect from my work and I cook for myself and I enjoy this because I made this by myself. So these are very important advices for you. And the last advice I will give you today is prioritize sleep. I always slept just a few hours and I was a different person. So you read and hear a lot about this and you have sleep trackers and all that stuff. You don't need this. It's just go early to bed. Just enjoy sleeping. It will totally change your life when you sleep enough hours. You can for yourself decide how many hours these are. But it's important that you prioritize your sleep. Your brain will refresh, your whole body will refresh, and you will be a total different person if you sleep enough hours. Of course, everybody has to work, and I know how hard it is to found companies because I founded a lot of companies by myself. But the moment I prioritized my eating, being outside in nature, and really having a good sleep, I really changed my whole startup journey.